Will the Russo brothers return to the MCU and save it? Well, rumor has it, they're in talks to do just that. So here we are at the Hollywood Reporter, which has the exclusive. Probably not anymore. I'm sure other people have covered it by now. In fact, I know they have. But nevertheless, here it is. I know you could read it yourself, but you wouldn't be able to read it with this voice. Yeah. So the Russo brothers are in early talks, so it's not necessarily a done deal. But then again, maybe it is. To return to Marvel Studios to direct not just one, but the next two Avengers movies. The hiring ends. Oh, well, they're saying they're already hired. Well, there you go. Ends month-long high-stakes search by the studio for filmmakers to oversee the 5th and 6th Avengers movies. Multiple names were in contention, including Deadpool and Wolverine director Sean Levy, who was offered the gig. Sources say the talks are in the early stages. Well, I wonder why did he turn it down? He's going to be doing a Star Wars movie, but we never heard that before. But it could be that the gig was his until it looked likely they could get the Russo brothers back. Because look, they made the best of the Marvel films, So the movie also marks a homecoming for the Russos, who jumped from the world of TV comedy on shows like Arrested Development and Community to blockbuster movies a decade ago with Captain America, the Winter Soldier, the absolute best of the Marvel films. That was the best one. And in truth, all three of the Captain America movies were really good. But Winter Soldier was really the peak. In total, they directed 4 of Marvel's biggest and best regarded movies, going on to helm Captain America Civil War. That was pretty good. Not as good as Winter Soldier, but pretty good. And it was actually more of, that's really Avengers 3. But anyway, Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. Not as good as Infinity War, but, well, it's kind of hard to do a payoff of a movie like Infinity War, Plus all that shoehorn shenanigans with Captain Marvel. But anyway, combined, their Marvel films grossed $6.681 billion, with Endgame standing as the number 2 movie of all time globally with $2.79 billion. And again, it was the sequel to Infinity War, so you had to see it, So in the years since, they've become mega producers via their Agbo banner, producing Best Picture winner Everything Everywhere All at Once, and pricey titles such as Amazon Citadel and Netflix's Extraction movies. Hey, that stars Thor as directors after becoming box office kings at Marvel. They stuck to streaming titles that did not reach the critical and cultural heights of their Marvel work. Directing the Tom Holland, hey, he's Spider-Man crime drama Cherry for Apple, and the big budget action movie The Gray Man. Didn't that star what's his name? The young Magneto? I think so. At Netflix, they also directed the upcoming sci-fi adventure The Electric State for Netflix. The 5th Avengers movie was previously titled Avengers The Kang Dynasty and was to star Jonathan Majors, a time-traveling villain king. But Marvel cut ties with the actor because, scandal and all that. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings director Destin Daniel Cretton was once attached to direct Kang Dynasty, but everything was going really bad and they had to get serious about it, so he departed a month before Major's conviction. The feature is expected to get a new name and a new focus. Oh, I'll bet. Maybe it'll be called Doom Dynasty. Got to roll out Dr. Doom, but that's really not enough time to develop him. But then, the Fantastic Four movie's upon us, so maybe that's how they'll do it. Anyway, the 6th Avengers film is Secret Wars, which is a storyline that the Russos have long talked about wanting to adapt. And since they did generally, and I've heard them mention that in interviews and stuff, that they do have an interest in that, maybe that was what sealed the deal, that and, money and all that. Anyway, a pair of 1980s comic book series focused on an all-powerful antagonist known as the Beyonder, who, in the first installment, pitted Marvel's heroes and villains against each other on a planet known as Battle World. Well, they called it that, but it basically was he wiped out an entire galaxy and saved some pieces of other planets and put it all together as a patchwork planet for them to battle on for his entertainment, really. Actually, he was trying to understand desire and stuff. It's a long-winded story. Anyway, in 2015, Revival served as the climax to writer Jonathan Hickman's own multiverse saga, which more of the 2015 version will be, I think, the focus for the cinematic Secret Wars, and maybe they'll have elements of the original, most notably the Beyonder, in that. But I think it'll have more to do with the collapse of the multiverse into one world, which they're describing here. And it says, oh, some of these elements are in the Doctor Strange movie. Barely. Barely. Boy, that title is so misleading. But anyway, so multiverse shenanigans, and it collapses all into one, and they start over. So it is a vehicle that works rather nicely as a reboot, where you reboot literally with, recast versions of Iron Man and Captain America and all that. You can have those characters back. It's going to be a hard sell because they're so attached to the actors, most notably Robert Downey Jr., who more than likely will make another appearance as Tony Stark, but he'll probably be an alternate universe version, that kind of thing. But nevertheless, that would ultimately be the swan song because, other than AI, you can't keep going. Oh, wait, maybe that's what they'll do too. I don't know. Anyway, that's the deal. And of course, Doctor Doom was a big part of that as he ruled that world. But he hasn't been introduced yet. I mean, even like Thanos was weaved in, slowly but surely he kept making appearances throughout those movies. So he was pretty much well known, maybe not entirely, but nevertheless, you recognized him by the time he shows up for Infinity War. So, Avengers 5 is set for May 1st, 2026, and Secret Wars is set for May 7th, 2027. So, their thing is like, it seems like it's a done deal. It says they're in talks, but says the hiring ends a month long. So are they already hired and the ink's dry and they're on board to do this? It is a shot in the arm that they do need. Can they pull it off? There's been a lot of damage done. But again, these are the guys who crafted the best of the batch, and there were some pretty fun and good movies here and there in the early days, but the Captain America films were the best. And most notably, Winter Soldier, and then Infinity War was just, it was just magnificent, and then Endgame, well, it had its problems, quite a bit, and it did a lot of damage afterwards. I mean, I don't know why the blip and all that is, man, that's a mess. So they haven't handled well since they left. So can they fix everything and hey, let's just do a Secret Wars reboot and forget all that dumb crap? yeah, maybe. But it depends on when this happened. And over at Deadline, I believe, they have more of a take on this. So see, it's not so exclusive now, is it? That they're being brought back into the fold. Where did it say that? And the idea, I think, is that they're giving ideas on some of the other films, and so they can maybe help clean up the mess and right the ship. And some of these movies maybe won't be as bad as one might have thought. Well, I'm missing it somewhere. I don't know. What about Cosmic Book News? Update. Deadline. Sources tell Deadline Joe and Anthony Russo are being brought into the fold at Marvel Studios on various fronts, with one of their first big priorities being the upcoming Avengers sequel at the studio. Talks for the pair to direct those films are still in the early stages, but the plan would be for them to be involved in both films. So, okay, so maybe the hiring is that they are maybe producing it at the moment, but perhaps they will be the directors as well. But if they've got their brain power in there, and since they've done reshoots for Captain America, I'm very dubious that they can save that one, but maybe it won't be as stupid as it originally was. As for Thunderbolts, well, maybe they could fix that too. I don't know. Maybe even fix Fantastic Four. I doubt it, but, you know. And, you know, say one could hope, but, you know, the thing about hope, when they get dashed, oof. So anyway, Hail Mary pass, Russo brothers, I think more than likely are, you know, back in full force. Especially since, yeah, they did say they were interested in Secret Wars. So I think they're definitely going to be the director of Secret Wars. Or directors, I guess I should say. And so there you go. Yeah. So there's some chances for Marvel, unlike everything else, but it's very, very slim.